What if I told you, there exists a story so forbidden, so unsettling, that it was left out of most Bibles? A tale buried in the shadows of history, of powerful celestial beings known as the Watchers, angels who descended to earth, and shared secrets never meant for human eyes. Secrets so potent, they didn't just enlighten, they corrupted. They rewrote the destiny of mankind. But one question still haunts the silence. Why was this knowledge forbidden? What made it so dangerous, so seductive, that it had to be hidden from us? In the ancient Book of Enoch, preserved only in the Ethiopian Orthodox tradition, we find a forgotten truth. It tells of how the Watchers gave humanity forbidden teachings, the power to bend nature, to shape metal, to wield technology, and even to control one another. But this gift came with a terrible price: chaos, destruction, and a deep corruption of the soul. In today's story, we pull back the veil to reveal what this forbidden knowledge truly was, why it was denied to humanity, and ask the ultimate question: was this a cruel act of censorship, or a divine shield meant to protect us from ourselves? The Book of Enoch introduces us to the Watchers, celestial guardians once appointed to watch over humanity, but led by a powerful figure named Semiaza. A faction of these beings broke divine order. They descended to earth with a purpose: to take human wives and live among mortals. This act, born from rebellion and desire, shattered the barrier between the spiritual and earthly realms. But their influence did not stop there. The Watchers began sharing knowledge, powerful and ancient teachings never meant for human hands. They taught how to shape metal and forge weapons, giving rise to tools of war. They revealed the arts of magic and enchantment, allowing humans to manipulate the natural and the supernatural. They unveiled the patterns of the stars, secrets of the heavens meant to remain untouched. Each teaching seemed useful, even beautiful, but together, they became a pathway to ruin. Humanity, once guided by simplicity, began to seek domination, power, and pride. But the most shocking consequence of the Watchers' descent was not their knowledge, it was their offspring. From their union with human women came the Nephilim, giants of immense size, strength, and intellect. These beings were not merely larger than life, they were unnatural. According to the Book of Enoch, the Nephilim were ravenous and violent. They consumed the labor of men, devoured livestock, and eventually turned against humanity itself. Entire civilizations were brought to their knees by these hybrid creatures. More than monsters of flesh, the Nephilim symbolized the deep imbalance created when divine boundaries were crossed. Their existence spread fear, destruction, and chaos across the earth. They were a living consequence of forbidden union and knowledge, a mirror of corrupted divinity. The Book of Enoch describes in detail what the Watchers shared: metallurgy and weaponry. Once learned, humans forged tools of destruction and turned against one another. Warfare spread, and peace was lost. Magic and enchantments. These teachings offered ways to manipulate reality, leading humans to pursue powers they didn't fully understand. Astrology and celestial knowledge. By reading the stars, people believed they could direct their own destinies, trusting in cosmic patterns, rather than in divine purpose. The result? Humanity became obsessed with power, entangled in illusions, and distanced from the original harmony it once knew. These teachings may have offered strength, but not wisdom. Influence, but not understanding. Power, but without responsibility. And as this forbidden knowledge spread, the earth fell into darkness. The consequences were devastating. Violence filled the earth. Sorcery and dark spiritual practices took root. People turned away from higher guidance, entranced by the belief that they could bend the world to their will. The Nephilim, in particular, became tyrants, ruling over humanity like gods. Their insatiable hunger and overwhelming strength pushed the world into further disarray. What began as knowledge became a poison, corrupting hearts, igniting war, and dismantling trust. The stars no longer inspired awe, but control. The divine order was replaced with fatalism, and pride overtook humility. Humanity, in its pursuit of power, drifted further and further from its origin. The Watchers had given humanity a mirror of the divine, but without the wisdom to wield it. And in that reflection, we saw not enlightenment, but our downfall. As corruption spread, and the earth became overrun with violence and spiritual decay, the divine chose to act. The Book of Enoch speaks of a cleansing, a great flood, not merely an act of destruction, but of restoration. Humanity had lost its way. The Watchers had introduced forces too great for mortals to bear. The celestial realm intervened, to cleanse the earth, purify the damage, and reset the balance. According to Enoch, 4 archangels, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel, were sent to confront the fallen Watchers. They were cast into the abyss, imprisoned to prevent further corruption. And as for the Nephilim, their bodies were destroyed in the flood, but their spirits endured. Enoch writes that the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim became something new: evil spirits, roaming demons, restless and vengeful. They now wander the earth, seeking to influence the minds of humans, sowing chaos and spiritual decay. These spirits, born of heaven and earth, remain trapped between both, denied peace, yet refusing to fade. The story of the Watchers is more than ancient myth. It is a reflection of our timeless struggle. Their tale warns us of the price of unchecked ambition, of reaching beyond what we are meant to hold. The pursuit of knowledge without humility, of power without restraint, leads not to freedom, but to collapse. Though the teachings of the Watchers seem like relics of a distant past, their echoes remain. In our drive for control, through science, technology, even spiritual manipulation, we often forget the cost of knowledge and tempered by wisdom. The Watchers' fall reminds us, some boundaries exist not to limit us, but to protect us. In the end, the story of the Watchers is not one of monsters or myths, but of a choice between knowledge and wisdom, between control and trust, between reaching for power or walking in alignment with something greater than ourselves. The forbidden knowledge they shared still whispers in our world today. And so we must ask ourselves, are we ready for the truth we seek? Or are some secrets best left untouched? If this story made you think, if you felt the weight of ancient truth stirring inside you, then don't let it fade. Like, share, and subscribe to uncover more forgotten truths and hidden fragments of our mysterious past. Because some stories are meant to be remembered.